Hello and welcome to Squatchspot. I'm Darrin Smith, and I hope that all of you out there are doing okay and that you and your loved ones are well. I know it has been quite some time since I have posted a video. However, I have been very busy these past few weeks with holiday festivities. The festivities began in November when I had family over for a Thanksgiving celebration. My niece Allie, who has been in a number of my videos, was among them. Following Thanksgiving, I met a couple of my brothers at a local Indian casino for some gaming fun and holiday cheer. Next, I was flying over the snow-capped mountains of the Sierra Nevadas and soon found myself among the bright lights of Las Vegas, where I rendezvoused with friends from Louisiana for some quality time spent together and some Christmas spectacle. Returning home, I did manage to get out into the field a couple of times. However, we had our first major snowstorm of the season, which made it difficult to conduct field research. However, I did do quite a bit of networking, and I have received a number of very credible first-hand eyewitness reports coming from areas I have been investigating. And so I have returned to the woods to conduct a few follow-up investigations and to continue our search for the elusive Sasquatch. So right now we are out in the field and we are in very close proximity to Goat Mountain here along Road 426. And as I mentioned on numerous episodes previously, this area is strategic this time of year. And as I've also mentioned on previous episodes, I believe the Sasquatch move up to much higher elevations during the warmer summer months. And then as we start getting these cooler temperatures this time of year and we start getting this snowfall, I believe the Sasquatch come down off the mountains and get down into these lower elevations in search of food and resources. And I absolutely believe that this area along Road 426 is absolutely strategic because, as I've mentioned on previous episodes, since I moved to this location in 2017, I have received over a dozen first-hand reports from locals that were seeing Sasquatch cross this little stretch of Road 426. And as I mentioned, the reason for them doing so is here along Goat Mountain. It's a very rugged, desolate terrain, and it leads up to those backcountry and up to those higher elevations. So that's how the Sasquatch are getting down into this area. And then they're crossing the road to get up onto this ridge line where there's an abundance of homesteads up there, and there's an abundance of food for them up in that area. There's a bunch of orchards up there, there's a bunch of crops, there's a bunch of farm animals and chickens, and I absolutely believe that's what's happening here. The Sasquatch are crossing this road to get up into those homesteads in search of food and resources. And since I've been conducting my investigation in this area throughout the years, I have had some very intriguing happenings occur here. As noted, Goat Mountain and Road 426 has had significant reported Sasquatch activity over the years, which is why I have spent an incredible amount of time investigating this area. Throughout my investigations of this area, I have discovered very compelling physical evidence the Sasquatch are moving through this area, from footprint impressions to meticulously groomed game trails. I have captured some very compelling audio recordings, saw possible red eye shine, and while conducting night surveillance in the dead of winter, I captured something very compelling on camera. It had snowed that night, and as I scanned the area using my FLIR night vision, a tree came crashing down in very close proximity to me. Scanning the area again with the FLIR unit, I captured a very large bipedal creature moving into the area. Reviewing the video footage, you can clearly see the environment had changed dramatically between shots, and it demonstrated this figure was an animate being and not an environmental anomaly. Though the creature was partially obstructed as it purportedly peered out from behind a tree, you can clearly see animation and physical characteristics that strongly resemble that of a Sasquatch. And when enlarging the head area, the physical characteristics are very compelling. Reviewing the audio from this incident, there is strong evidence that supports there were more than one Sasquatch in the area, and it is very likely that the tree had been pushed over, which could have been a diversionary tactic to divert my attention away from the approaching Sasquatch, or an attempt to chase me from the area. An important note here: as I was scanning the forest environment following the tree fall, I was having technical difficulties with the FLIR unit, and I did not take note of the bipedal figure that had moved into the area until later when I was reviewing the footage. The FLIR I was using was experiencing some sort of interference and was cutting in and out, and although it had significant battery life at the time, for reasons unknown, the battery quickly drained during this incident, and the unit powered down. I have no explanation for the FLIR unit's malfunction during this incident, and as I had lost my night vision, I abandoned my night surveillance and moved out of the area. As you're investigating an area, you are looking for the game trails, because for sure the animals are going to be using the game trails, because animals generally will take the path of least resistance. And also the Sasquatch will be utilizing those same game trails. And another clue that the Sasquatch may be in the area is the Sasquatch will often groom game trails to make them easier to traverse when eluding humans or when pursuing prey. So you definitely want to keep your eyes out for any sort of game trails that seem to be void of branches, opened up spaces, because that is an inkling that the Sasquatch may be in the area. And also you definitely want to be keeping an eye out for that physical evidence that we are searching for. I mean, those footprint impressions, because for sure the Sasquatch are leaving footprints as they move through an environment. So it's definitely something you want to be keeping your eyes open for. And also, as we start heading back towards the road, you want to be looking at those game trails that are leading up to the roads and crossing the roads, because that is absolutely where the Sasquatch will be walking across the road, and where you're getting those roadside crossings. So definitely something to be aware of when you're investigating an environment. I've been in it now for hours, and I have not found any physical evidence in the area that leads me to believe that the Sasquatch are in the area. And also we have encountered quite a bit of weather, so I definitely think we need to be getting back to the vehicle and getting these electronics out of this rain. Well, I made it back to the vehicle, and not a second too soon, because these clouds have definitely opened up and started dropping a considerable amount of rain on us. So I think at this point it is important for me to start heading home, because it is very likely, as the temperatures start decreasing and as I'm moving up to higher elevations, there will be snow in the area. And I definitely want to get back to my house before it starts snowing up in that area. So at this point, not having found any sort of physical evidence that leads me to believe that the Sasquatch are in this area, I am not open to remaining in the area to conduct night surveillance. And since we are experiencing some considerable weather here, and the fact that there is very likely going to be snow at my home, I think it is important that we kind of abort things today and get home. I'm definitely glad we made the call to get back to the house when we did, because clearly this storm system that is moving through is going to be dropping a lot of snow in the area, and it would have made it very difficult to get back to the house having to drive through it. So I'm definitely glad to be back at the house and not having to deal with this snow. And I am very glad that I was able to spend some time there on Goat Mountain and along Road 426, because as I mentioned, that area is absolutely strategic this time of year. However, over the past couple of years, I have not found any physical evidence that the Sasquatch were moving through the area. And I think what's happening there is we have had a number of fires up above North Fork, California, along that ridge there. And I think it is preventing the Sasquatch from moving down from those higher elevations and getting down into that Bass Lake Basin and getting over to Goat Mountain and Road 426, because I absolutely do not believe the Sasquatch are going to want to be moving through those burned out areas. I want to thank all of you for your continued support of my channel and for the kind words of encouragement you have been sending me. I also very much appreciate all of you who have signed up for my Squatchspot Facebook group. I think that is a great location for us to connect on a much more personal level, and I very much appreciate all of the support you guys have been showing me. I launched this YouTube channel back in 2017 as a platform where I could share my research findings, and I was also hoping it was going to be a great location for me to network with other Sasquatch researchers in the community. However, I have to admit I am a bit disappointed that the various Bigfoot groups that I have reached out to and a number of A-listers who I've tried to contact has pretty much fallen on deaf ears. And I think it is abundantly clear within the Bigfoot community, very few individuals are interested in working with one another. And I think this is actually going to be a major detriment to the research in general. So I am a bit disappointed in that regard. However, I have to admit that since I launched this channel, I have been contacted by a number of individuals within this community, the local community where I've been focusing my efforts, by individuals who want to share their experiences. And as I mentioned earlier on this episode, I have received a number of first-hand eyewitness reports from areas I am already investigating. I have mentioned this before. Your most valued resource when investigating the Sasquatch phenomenon are the locals within the community. These creatures are real, and individuals within the community are encountering them. And although some may be reluctant to share their personal encounters publicly for fear of ridicule, many will open up about their experiences on a one-on-one. And I am very thankful that so many within this community are comfortable with sharing their experiences with me. And what I am very excited to learn, many of these reported encounters are happening in areas I am already investigating, and where I have found some very solid physical evidence of Sasquatch activity. Together we do have a much better chance of solving this mystery, and I absolutely welcome other researchers within the Bigfoot community who are interested in comparing notes to reach out and say hello. And those who are interested in sharing their personal encounters, I would absolutely love to meet for coffee and to hear your story. And to all of you who have supported or have promoted my channel, I want to send out a heartfelt thank you. It really means the world to know there are people within the Bigfoot community who appreciate my efforts. Please stay safe and take care. Happy holidays, and may 2022 bring all of you much joy, love, and happiness. I'm Darrin Smith, and I'll see you here next time on Squatchspot.